Hey GPT, I am assigning you a role of Python interviewer and you have to ask me the questions.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to help with a Python interview style session. We can do a mix of conceptual questions, coding problems, and maybe some problem solving approaches. Is there a particular focus, like basic Python, data structures, or maybe more advanced topics like decorators, OOP, or frameworks that you'd like me to focus on?
Basically anything you can ask from the Python and I will try to answer.
Got it. Let's keep it broad then. I'll mix it up a bit. First question. Can you explain the difference between a list and a tuple in Python? And then maybe give an example of when you'd use each.
Okay, so list is a mutable and tuple is immutable. List uses square bracket to store the multiple values together at one place, and whereas we have a tuple that uses the round brackets to store the multiple values, and tuple is faster and it is faster because it is immutable and Python detects automatically that it's immutable. That's why it is faster than the list. And we
That's a
always go with the list in the like ML or DL or GNAI projects or coding some coding questions, because list is like mutable and our work is always like some kind of a mutable and appending something and like playing with the loop. So that's why we always go with the loop, and we don't go with the like tuple because it is immutable. That's why like that's a very low use of tuple in the ML or DL or GenAI.
Yeah, that's right. Tuples definitely have their place, especially when you need a fixed collection of values that shouldn't change, like keys in a dictionary, or ensuring data integrity. But for most flexible operations, like in ML pipelines, looping, and frequent updates, lists are just so much more convenient. Nicely done. Ready for the next one?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Awesome. All right, let's dive into a coding question. Imagine you have a list of numbers and you need to write a function that returns a new list with each element squared. How would you implement that in Python?
Imagine you have a list of numbers and you need to write a function and get it to
Exactly.
a new list.
So, for example, if I have a list like one, 2, 3,
Imagine
4, I want to produce 1, 4, 9, 16. You can use a loop or even better, a list comprehension. How would you write that?
yeah, like list comprehension, it's a quick way to make a list using for loop, and then you are using a lambda, or like if you are not using lambda then you can easily write x asterisk 2 asterisk and then 2, and we can easily square the numbers.
Exactly. So, a neat implementation would be something like you define a function, say square numbers, that takes a list, and then you return a list comprehension like x squared squared for x in nums. That's super concise and very Pythonic. Nice job. Ready for another one?
Yeah, I'm ready. You have to ask me the conceptual questions, not a coding like some implementation or practical questions. You don't need to ask because I am like just talking to you. That's why.
Ah, gotcha. No problem at all. Let me switch to a more conceptual question then. So, can you explain what a Python decorator is and how it might be useful in a program?
Decorator basically it adds some extra behavior to the original function without changing its original code or structure. You can like maybe if you want to do something before and after the function, if you are like doing any specific thing, then you can easily create your own decorator function. But if you don't want to like create, so you can also use built-in methods. We have a static and class, where class uses like represent itself, where it is uses the CLC parameter, and then we have a static method. It's a kind of a regular function and it does not like gives the information about class or instance.
That was really well said. Yeah, exactly. Decorators let you wrap extra logic around a function like timing it, logging, or enforcing permissions. And you're right, built in decorators like at static method or class method give you some really clean, expressive ways to control behavior. Nicely done. Ready for another concept?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Great. So here's another conceptual one. Can you explain what the global interpreter lock GIL is in Python and how it impacts multi-threading?
I don't know what is this actually called. You can move to the next question.
No problem at all. We'll keep it moving. So Let's try this one. Can you explain what a Python generator is and how it differs from a regular function that returns a
Oh,
list?
so generator means a kind of function which like gives the or returns the values step by step or one by one instead of returning all at once. And we have a yield statement which like remembers for the next call, and it is of course it is like different from the normal function because it basically returns the value one by one, and the other function like normal, it gives the value at once.
Exactly, that's perfect. And because generators yield values one at a time, they're super memory efficient. You don't have to store the entire sequence in memory. They're great for iterating over large data sets or streams. Really nice explanation.